Okay, we are going to look at the second half of our review. I've already recorded the first half. So we are looking through the second half. I'm going to go through my answers, and then we will go back and go over questions that you guys might have. I highly recommend you looking at this video again tonight if you aren't able to write down all the answers very quick. Try some of these problems again, especially the ones that are hardest for you, so that you do well. Actually study is what I'm telling you to do. I'm also telling you to put your phones away before I make everybody turn their phone in up here, because you can't pay attention. Okay. For inverse, we're looking at A. A, for the inverse, I get y equals x minus 5 over 2. B, I get x to the third minus 4 over 2. X to the third minus 4 over 2. C, I get 2 times x minus 5 over negative 5, or you can do that all out and you get 2x minus 10 over negative 5 equals y. D is 4x plus 2 equals y. Remember, for inverse, switch the x and y and then solve it again for y. Okay, graphing.
We go up the root.
Yep. Okay. For graphing, it says for these, first check that they're inverses. So again, I switched x and y for the graphing, and then I graphed it. These ones are just like y equals mx plus b. You put it on the b, and then the m, what's in front of the x is the m, and that tells you how much it goes up and over. So these are my two graphs. B, I believe we did together, but just in case, it's right here. You know, I start on my b, which is negative 2. I go up 2 over 1. For this one, I start on my 1, and then I go up 1 to the right 2.
Hold on.
It's hard to tell with graphs if it's right or wrong. Okay, for C and D, I am simply looking what the inverse is. Is this the inverse of this? Okay, it is. It's y equals 3 to x. For D, you do get y equals the 5th root 7x minus 2. All right, let's turn it over, and now we're going to start looking at the trig stuff. This is the section that most of you had the most problems with, so let's pay really close attention. Yeah. Okay. All right, we are looking at the trig section. 1 through 4 is just with SOHCAHTOA. Let's sine, cosine, tangent. X for number 1 is 10.5. Number 2 is 52.2. Number 3 is 7. And number 4 is 13.4. Number 5, it is a cosine. Okay, remember it's this form, y equals a cosine bx plus c. Okay, they're using m as your x, but you could have had x there and that would have been fine. And we get y equals negative 3 cosine pi over 6 m plus 12. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. Number 6. The max is 500. The min is not correct here. That doesn't make sense. This should be the opposite way. This is the min is 500. The max is... So, wait. I have on mine, maybe yours is different, but I have my max is 3,500.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, and so the max, stop talking, gentlemen. Shh. The max minus the min is the amplitude, which is 1,500. The period is 18. This is where it starts repeating. And vertical shift of 2,000. It didn't start at 0. It started at 2,000. Domain can be any x, or you can say 0 to 27, because that's where the graph stopped. Either way, that's fine. The range is 500 to 3,500. And then it's graphed negative 1,500 cosine pi over 9x plus 2,000. The way we find this bx, just remember it's 2 pi divided by 18. That's how we got pi over 9.
Is this for B?
This is for b. Okay? For ones like number 7, I mean, it's pretty much 5 is telling you what c is. It has a period of 10. Remember, we've got to go 2 pi divided by 10, and then we know we're going to put pi over 5 in place. The amplitude is 3. We know that goes right here. This is how I figured out each piece. Number 8, my amplitude is 23. My period is 12. Every 12 months it repeats. And my vertical shift should not be 59. It should be 36. I don't know how that got put like that. Okay. We're going to turn it over. It is negative 23 cosine pi over 6x plus 36. It's October, the day that's most like April. And we didn't sketch a graph there. I'm not going to make you sketch a graph, obviously, on your multiple choice. So I just didn't do C. Okay, these equations, just to kind of get into this pattern. Y equals 5 cosine 1/3 x.
Scroll down a little bit.
Yep. This is y equals 2 sine 1/4 x plus 2. This is y equals sine 2 pi over 5x. Y equals sine 1/4 x. And I'm going to move up just a little bit. There we go. Then we've got y equals 5 sine pi over 3x. Y equals negative 4 cosine 2x. And y equals negative 8 cosine 1/10 x. Okay. Questions about any of these that you want to go over? I'd like to do just like one of these graphs in the back because I feel like that's... Do we want to just look at the end one and then I'll leave you guys alone? Okay. So, first of all, we've got to talk about what the amplitude is. Do you guys see how it's 8? That's how we got the 8 right here. All right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not shifted, so that's why there's no C that we have to worry about. And then we just went 2 pi divided by 20 pi, and that's how we got 1/10, right? The pi's canceled out. 2 over 20 gives me 1/10. Do you want me to do another one of those? At least one more?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at this one up here. Okay, I know that the amplitude, it's showing me right here is 2. Okay, it starts at 0, so it didn't shift right or left any, so there's nothing being added to it. Okay, and then I take 8 pi, I put it 2 pi over it, and that's how I get 1/4 right there. Okay, so where it repeats, I'm just going 2 pi divided how much it repeats on. Okay.
What about one like the y equals sine 2 pi over 5?
Okay, so see how this is 5?
Yeah.
So I went 2 pi over 5. So that just goes right there, right? Like it doesn't cancel out those pi's like the other ones did.
And then you did that because you knew it was inside.
Yeah,
Zero.
and it started at 0 right here. Okay, the amplitude is 1, so I don't need to put a 1 in front of it, right? It started at 0, so I'm not adding or subtracting anything. But I know that it starts repeating at 5, so I go 2 pi divided by 5.
Oh, okay.
If you look at this one right here, I know the amplitude is 2 because between 2 and 4, you know, that goes up 2. Or I can go 4 minus 0 divided by 2. And that's what I get there, okay? I know it's sine because it goes, up and down like that. I go 8 pi, 2 pi divided by 8 pi gives me 1/4 x. And then, do you see how it doesn't start at 0, it went up 2?
Yes.
That's why it's the plus 2. Okay? Any other questions about this? You guys can ask me individually. I'm going to post this on my website.